Oh, it looks a lot better. Yeah, the planar reflection stuff just actually takes things into account, it looks like. Alright, so let's mess with our skybox and again throw our moon up in the sky and see what it looks like. And that's not good right there. Why? Like, we have the correct reflection, it looks fine, but the problem is this lighting glare isn't being shadowed. Let's see, is there something with the water itself that... Like, I mean, it is an opaque default lit thing. It's not two-sided. Let's Google it real quick. Shadows not being cast on water? Unreal? Like, it's an opaque surface. It's not translucent. Static mesh has been movable. Mobility of water. Let's see, this thing is a static mesh? Well, let's just make it movable. And see if that changes anything. And maybe we need to rebuild the lighting or something. So why don't we just build our stuff. Yeah, we don't need shadows from the water itself. Alright, let's throw this thing at night. Let's see, we wanted it like 3. Alright, so definitely we've got this issue here where the reflection is snagging the light. I mean, we could make it unlit, maybe. Yeah, unlit didn't do anything. That's not good. Alright, default lit. Let's hide this thing. Visible. Alright, well, never mind. No, I'm not seeing anything. Alright, let's see, is there anything on this light? Like, which light is actually causing this issue? It's the bloom? There we are. Okay, so what's going on here is the bloom lighting here is not getting occluded. And that's what's messing all this stuff up. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to change how our crepuscular rays get cast. So we can do that in a couple different ways. Let's take a look. I mean, this is what I was talking about earlier, is we might have to change the direction of the God rays and the bloom based on something else, which is why it's a separate light. So if we go to our align light, we've got this like set light relative transformation. So why don't we test something out real quick. So let's see. So that's our yaw. So I guess we don't want to change our yaw for that light. We want to change our pitch by a certain amount. Let's see, if we change our pitch, I'll just put this to 0 and 0, and then we can kind of move our light around just a little bit. So let's see, if we tilt it by 5, that makes it more reflective. Let's see, we're like right here. It can sometimes be hard to type into these things. Alright, so let's take a look. So we fixed our bloom, but we're not getting the rays over the hill. Like even just a 5-degree angle change is making it so this thing doesn't work very well. No, that's not doing it. Alright, so let's just Google maybe some other things. Apparently there's a lot of issues with reflection light spots. Apparently with some of the lights there's like a min roughness, which might help. It's not the light shaft bloom either. Interesting. Okay, so it's not light shaft bloom at all. Okay. So what is it then? Alright, there we go. Alright, the intensity just needs to be set super low on that light to get it to work properly. That's why we had a second light here anyway for this thing. There we go. Alright, so what was going on with that is, the reason why we have two lights for our background and for our bloom lighting is specifically because of the reflection spots get all sorts of screwed up. So now we've got our light going proper, and it's basically that our light wasn't casting, it had shadows disabled, and that's why the mountain wasn't messing it up. And we're just using this thing for the light rays, not the other lights. So yeah, that's a lot better. Of course, the other thing that's an issue here is this stuff here should be not lit, but it is lit in the reflection. It's easiest to see it right there, is that our shadows aren't being drawn into the water. Is that something on the planar reflection itself? Let's take a look. This is planar reflections and shadows. Yeah, let's see. Planar reflections do not properly render shadows is on the forums. Let's see. Static, stationary light maps. are not rendered in the planar reflection of 4.15. This means that mirrors will show a fully unshadowed version of the player in the water using. Alright. Actual results, raw, planar reflection, expected reflection. Yeah, this is supposed to be in shadow. Seems the issue is I get the issue of my own project, but the terrain material has 35 layers. Dynamic directional shadows do not work with planar reflections. Movable stationary shadows are not captured by the planar reflections. Note that the point and spotlight box. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this was resolved and updated June 27th. So that was just like 2 weeks ago. Well, shit. Let's grab it. Let's put it in the project. I'm gonna have to log into GitHub and see what I can get here. Alright, so this is supposedly fixed. The main commit is here. So directional dynamic shadows expected that they show up. Yeah, and these are dynamic shadows that we got going on, so this is our bug. Bug caused by incorrect shadow culling volumes for cascade shadow maps of backface culling mode for full scene. Fixed by taking view reverse culling into account. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to take a look at this change 3.0 blah. So let's go to the Unreal Engine. Let's see if we can go to a specific commit. Let's see, it's throw this on my other monitor. Alright, so this is fixed by taking view reverse culling, so it's full scene, shadow projection. I wish the fix commit actually had this. I'm not sure how to go to the actual commit that this guy put in. I guess we could look for his account. This is dev rendering. Yeah, I don't see it. Well, let's see if 4.17 has it in there. So let's look at the commits for it. These were all a day ago. Yeah, I wish they had a much easier and this is for a specific commit. Okay, so we have all the files here. Okay, so we should be able to search for the reverse culling. So let's just make sure all these files are loaded. And this is always the fun part of engineering, is doing stuff like this. I mean, this was merging it in here. Well, let's just load all the diffs, shall we? There's only a finite number of changes on here. We should be able to find what we're looking for if we just are patient. My Chrome does not like loading up a web page this big. And I don't really know a better way to snag the whole commit and just dump it out other than like using a whole bunch of get commands and screwing around, which would probably take longer than just clicking on these things and loading it up manually. Yeah, maybe this is some of it. Interface shader map. Looks like they've changed a lot of where all the shaders exist in 4.17 that's going to be coming out. Well, that also begs, when is 4.17 actually available? Maybe I should just take the entire drop at some point. They just have 4.16 different point releases. Is that it? Is that it right here? This graphics view reverse culling is whole scene directional shadows. Yeah, I guess that's it. And we don't have the individual commit notes. They must have a separate thing going on. So line 867? Alright, well, let's go check it out. Oh, 876. Oh, this has changed, hasn't it? They've added more stuff in here. Solid rasterization with backface culling. And it looks like the only thing they did was take out the XOR on it. Well, let's save everything and go see if this actually fixes it. And they literally just took out this and changed it to an OR. So we'll see if we can just drop that fix right in for us and see if it's what we needed. But that's kind of how game development goes, is there are bugs. And then they get fixed, and then you need to get those fixes into your project sometimes. Because I'd really hate to just wait around for 4.17. Let's see if Unreal is actually... released any information. Yeah, no idea. So when did they release 4.15? I like how they don't have freaking dates on their... Like, you'd think Unreal would have a date somewhere here, like when this was posted or something. That's one of the things I hate, is when they don't paste goddamn release notes for things. It's like, when was this thing updated, right? When was this article posted? Anyway, let's boot this up and take a look at our reflections. And as you'll notice, our reflections now actually take our shadows into account. So we were successful in snagging our shadows. Our shadow fix there. Excellent. It's always nice when things like that work out to be not as ridiculously difficult as you thought they would be. Alright, so they worked, but we had to take a fix from Epic to actually get it to work. Alright, planar reflections totally do what they're supposed to do. Well, I'm happy with that. Let's take a look at a release build of this real quick. In order to do that, I'm going to have to detach the debugger. I just want to make sure that the frame rate is good with the reflection in there. Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. Alright, we got that sorted out. Alright, so reflections didn't catch shadows. So what we did was we snagged the fix from Epic. I wonder if they'll actually fix the issue that I reported eventually, finally. Nope, they're never gonna fix it. Alright, so let's check out our output. So we should be finished building this very quickly here. Cooking is one of the last steps. Excellent. So let's boot that up real quick and should be inside of Dashkin test build. Well, where did our god rays go? I guess there aren't any. The moon is too high in the sky? Is that what's going on here? Let's take a look at it. Hello, Karakan. Did you hear God rays? You heard God rays. So we put in the God rays. Alright, let's make sure we got this all saved up here, and I want to see it working inside of the release build. Yeah, one of the things that we were testing there, Karakan, is we got water reflecting everything properly. We had to go fix a pretty nasty bug with that, though. We actually had to go grab a fix that's upcoming for 4.17 for Unreal to fix the shadows. Like, the shadow from the mountain was not being rendered properly in the reflection, so we were seeing like brightly lit grass surrounding the lake, stuff like that. So, you know, messing around with that sort of stuff. Making sure it works as we expect it to work. And I don't have any caffeine today because I'm out of energy drinks. I'm gonna have to go to the store. Alright, so packaging complete. Let's make sure it works. And there we go, there's our reflection. Properly getting lit up, and then we have our just trash in the background there, but that's fine. That's the right kind of trash. Bitey in space. Alright. Very cool. How big is this right now? 920 megs? Why? Why is it so big? The executable is like that. Pack file is gigantic. Splash screen is not going to be there. All this stuff is 150 megs? Why? Because we have all these SDK DLLs for all this bullshit that we don't need? Well, they're not debug DLLs at least. Let's see, build. Content, extras. So what are the extras? Redist for UE4 prereq setup. Let's actually see what that looks like. So they have DirectX and everything else. Well, that's cool. We got all that set up. ICD. How big is Slate's content? 10 megs? That's not bad. Alright, so it looks like all of our size is inside of our content, which is perfectly fine. Like, our pack file is nearly a gig, but that's all just like bullshit test data that we don't need to worry about. So that's not a problem. Alright, so I think we've pretty much finished with this level. I don't think there's anything else we can really learn from this. I'm going to go ahead and clean stuff up then. A regular game then. Well, the main thing is, like, for our content here, like, just look at some of this. Like, for our test sky here, this folder, when we go into it, yeah, if we go into our content for just like our basic stuff, you can see like our test content in here, what, 38 megs? How big is all this stuff? 1.8 gigs. So let's just kind of binary search it. All this stuff is 300 megs. All this stuff is 200 megs. Is it just starter content and side-scrolling CPP? Yeah, so we have like tons of just garbage in here. And these test levels, like all these test levels have just tons of shit in them that we don't need. You can see like the built data for like the grasslands maps and everything. Oh yeah, these are all the maps that Adam put together that have like 2 million pieces of grass in them. See, the thing about our grasslands at night right here, which is what this level is it's only like 1 meg. And the reason it's only 1 meg, even though we have, 2 million or whatever the hell pieces of grass on it, is because the grass is not actually hard-coded in here. It's just a layer that we painted. It's a green layer as opposed to 200 million pieces of foliage. Yeah. That was one of the things. Adam made a level there that had like just one little patch of like 1.5 million pieces of grass, and I just right clicked on the file and I was like, this file is 500 megs, Adam. He's like, what? Wait, what? I'm like, this is a problem, dude. That's why I'm on the team. I'm an engineer. Engineers are supposed to think about crap like that. Artists are supposed to make things look cool. And it's my job to deal with all the rest of that shit. Alright, so yeah, I think we're done with this. So what else have we got roaming around? Okay, so one other thing that we could think about is, should we take the clouds out of the sky sphere? In the sense that, like, right now, what the sky sphere is I can actually go to the edge of the universe here. I'm traveling to the right. Yeah, okay, so we're outside of the sky sphere now. So what basically is we could do here is we could take all these clouds, put them on a sphere that's slightly inside the sky sphere, and then we could see kind of how that works, and maybe we could like, what would be the point of that? Well, we could have the clouds cast shadows or something like that, but then we could also just have a freaking cloud. That's like an actual cloud, not just a background piece of stuff. I'm not really sure we need that, though. Alright, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, that is true. Can have even more layers of clouds. Well, we have 2 layers of clouds, and the thing is, we could just snag a cloud, right, and just throw it out here and have it move. Do we have any clouds? I like this is Adam's test cloud. I think he might have made it. It's like a big fluffy blob. Look at this thing. Alright, layers of mist would be a thing, yeah. Actually, why don't we do that? Why don't we try to get some fog going on here? See what it looks like. So, atmospheric fog. Because that was one of the things Adam was asking about was, you know, maybe we can get some fog going on here. Alright, so what is atmospheric fog? Who's a guy? I don't see anything that has to do with this. That's atmospheric light scattering. Let's just look it up real quick. Alright, so fog effects. So there's atmospheric fog and exponential height. Atmospheric fog provides a realistic sense of atmosphere, air density, and light scattering through atmospheric media. Well, let's see. So atmospheric fog gives an approximation of light scattering through planetary atmospheres. Can give your outdoor levels realistic looks. This total effect includes the following. The dominant directional light in all your levels will receive a sun disk effect in the sky. This will be placed infinitely far away, opposite the light's direction. Sky color will vary depending upon the altitude of the sun. Okay, so if we have atmospheric fog, maybe we should throw this during the day. Alright, so this is during the day. So what does this do? It's making the background look kind of bluish. Did I get the dusk working? Oh, did you not see the, all that? So yeah, the day-night cycle looks like that. And yeah, I got it. So it actually does what you would expect it to do. So I'll slow it down here in just a second. So yeah, it gets real dark, and then it transitions over to nighttime, like that. So yes, much better than what it was previously. So that was the idea. Anyway, so let's go back to 8 in the morning. Hello, Evo Streams. What is up? We are going to mess around with atmospheric fog in our level here and kind of see what it does for us. And kind of learn a little bit more about it. So I was reading up on this. So the atmospheric fog is an approximation of light scattering through a planetary atmosphere. This will give you outdoor effects, a much more realistic look. I don't think we're going to have atmospheric fog on during the night, because it makes the stars look not so great. Kind of washes the stars out, which is not what we want. Like, we want brilliant stars, right? Because it's unrealistic, but it looks cool. But during the day, I could totally see some of this atmospheric fog doing something. So let's see. Let's read up on what all these things do. Okay.